Hey guys, this is our new book. We are going to be reading Mercy Watson Fights Crime by Kate DiCamillo, and the pictures are by Chris Van Dusen. In this book, we're going to meet a new character. His name is Leroy Ninker, and Leroy Ninker is a thief. So we're going to find out how Mercy Watson fights crime. When I look at the front cover of this book, I see Mercy, and it looks like it's nighttime because the picture back here looks kind of dark and it looks like she's got shadows on her. And I see her peeking around the corner. I wonder if she hears something in her house and she's going to go try to find out what it might be. Then I look on the back cover. Here's the back cover, and I see a bag, and inside the bag was a toaster and a clock. I remember that clock was in the Watson's kitchen from our last couple of books. I wonder if there was a thief in there who put all this stuff inside the bag. Oh, I just saw something else over here on the front cover. There's a shadow on the floor. If I turn the book this way, you can see the shadow has two arms and a head and a big hat. What kind of hat do you think that looks like? Yeah, I think it looks like a cowboy hat. Let's see. Here's the title page, Kate DiCamillo. And there's the title, Mercy Watson Fights Crime. And there's the illustrator, Chris Van Dusen. And there's Mercy in her bed. Wonder why she has an M on her bed. Oh, because her name is Mercy. And Mercy starts with M. That's it. Have you ever seen a pig sleep in a bed? Me either. I'll have to show you a video sometime of my niece Parker. She has a pet pig. Isn't that crazy? There's Mercy's toast that she loves. Now let's look at page 1. Here's the picture of her bedroom again. She's in her bed. And there's a picture of her Mr. Watson and Mrs. Watson and Mercy. And there they are. She's even got a little glass of water beside her bed. I don't think pigs can really drink out of a cup, but let's read and find out what happens. Chapter 1. Mr. Watson and Mrs. Watson have a pig named Mercy. Each night they sing the pig to sleep. Then they go to bed. "Good night, my dear," says Mr. Watson. "Good night, my darling," says Mrs. Watson. "Oink," says Mercy. Most nights, Mr. Watson and Mrs. Watson and Mercy all sleep soundly in their beds. Do you remember in the first book, boys and girls, when Mercy came and got in bed with them and she broke the bed because she was too heavy and the bed went through the floor? Oh my goodness. Most nights, everybody sleeps soundly in their bed, but there was one night when they did not. Sleeping soundly means that you sleep really good, and everybody looks like they're sleeping pretty good until chapter 2. Look, we were right. That shadow was a cowboy hat. Leroy Ninker was a small man. He was a small man with a big dream. Leroy Ninker wanted to be a cowboy. But in the meantime, he was a thief. He was a thief in the kitchen at 54 Decawoo Drive. That's where Mercy lives. Leroy Ninker was robbing the Watsons. Wonder how he got in the house. Don't you think Mr. Watson locked the door before he went to bed? How in the world did Leroy Ninker get in the house? You see, he's wearing a mask. I guess that's because sometimes thieves put masks on. "Yippee-oh!" sang Leroy. "Everything must go." He grabbed hold of the toaster and he pulled it across the counter toward him. Now, boys and girls, if you have ever heard your mom put the toaster away, you probably have heard this sound. Listen. Screech! Went the toaster. said Leroy. He tossed the toaster into his bag. Clang! Went the toaster. Shh, said Leroy again. Look at him putting his finger up to his lips. He's saying shh. A long time ago, when we were still in school, boys and girls, we learned about onomatopoeia. Wasn't that a fun word to say? Onomatopoeia. There's an example of onomatopoeia right here in this story. Right here when the toaster said screech and the toaster went clang. Those are noises, words that make noise sounds. That's onomatopoeia. Let's see what happens next. Chapter 3. This is our last chapter for today. Screech! Marcy woke up. Screech was the sound the toaster made when it was being pulled across the kitchen counter. Mercy loved toast. She particularly loved toast with a great deal of butter on it. Oh, she's surprised. Do you think that she thinks that Mrs. Watson is making toast? I like how the author did the word screech right there. Chapter 10. Look, she's really interested. Her ears are all perked up. Mercy got out of bed. She pricked up her ears and she listened. Mercy Watson heard Mr. Watson snoring. She heard Mrs. Watson snoring. What do you think Mr. Watson sounded like when he was snoring? That's what I think. And Mrs. Watson was snoring. What do you think she sounded like? I think she probably went beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep. What do you think? Who was downstairs making toast? If Mr. Watson and Mrs. Watson were snoring, who was making toast? Mercy went to the top of the stairs. She looked down into the darkness. Clang! Went the toaster. Clang! Was the sound the toaster made when Mrs. Watson turned it on. Look, Mercy's going down to check it out. See how Chris Van Dusen showed us that she's walking by adding those little movement marks? Upside down. Oh, clang was the sound the toaster made when Mrs. Watson turned it upside down to clean out all the crumbs. Somebody was making toast. Mercy went down the dark, dark stairs, and she headed for the kitchen. And that's the end of chapter 3. What do you think Mercy's going to do when she goes in the kitchen and she sees Leroy Ninker? I don't know either. You'll have to come back tomorrow and find out.